Welcome to my studio and welcome to Drawing in the Now. This here is the 4th class, and we do a little bit of review at the beginning, and then we move forward with what we're focusing on today. And today, what I really want to focus on is these two states of mind. We have, hold on a second. We have chaos and we have order. And then we also have been focusing on talking about things via the conscious mind and the the unconscious mind. And ultimately, what the Drawing in the Now activities, what we're using the I Create What I Believe activities in this very simple way is to give people a simple tool to reconnect with their soul, to reconnect with who their authentic self, to reconnect with their purpose, to just reconnect. And so in the first 2 classes, we focused on individual hands, seeing what patterns activated our conscious mind more quickly, be it the non-dominant or the dominant. And so we did those individually, and we looked at the different shape lines that helped us connect with our conscious mind. Then last week, I introduced doing 2 hands together. Well, 2 hands together helps you create a whole brain experience because you're activating both the right and the left hemisphere to be able to move both hands together. And in both hands together, the patterns each hand has to draw does not have to be the same, but there has to be a sense of connection or synchronization or wholeness is what we're shooting for with that. Now, today, what I want to do is we're going to work a little bit more on the 2 hands, but I want to move this out into life and just say our body is designed to entrain or synchronize itself with its environment. But we actually have 2 environments to draw from. We have the external and we have the internal. And the internal is our authentic self, our soul, the connection to the universe, a deep sense of who we really are. So when you're in a situation, which many of us are at this time in history, in a situation where the external environment is really, really chaotic. And so when you're in a situation where the external environment is really chaotic, you do not want to entrain or synchronize yourself with that. Instead, what you want to do is you want to connect with your inner environment, which I was just talking about. So when you're doing the different activities, pay attention to at what point do you feel you're pulled away from the external conflict or upheaval or overwhelm? And what movement helps you just sit in that lovely, lovely place of connection with yourself and your soul? So today, when we're going to actually do the 2 hands, just so we have a little refresher there. But then I'm going to move you on to the next activity in the I Create What I Believe program. So we're going to do this together. I would like you to close your eyes. Now you can either take 3 deep breaths right now, or you can just move forward. And what you want to do is you really want to pay attention to moving both hands. They don't have to be doing the same thing, but they have to, be a continuation. You're not doing, I'm scribbling here and I'm scribbling here. And no, they both have to be moving. You have to find the speed, the rhythm, the pressure, the connection. That's what we're looking for. We're exploring the point of connection when we're moving both hands at the same time, or we're creating a whole brain experience. This is how we get that sense of confidence, this sense of clarity, this sense of comfort. And this is where we find our authentic self. So take a few minutes and, you start moving and pay attention. Is there more pressure on one hand versus the other? Is there more pressure or speed? What is the difference between the two? But there is a synchronization. There is a connection here, but it's facilitated by what the right hand is doing and the left hand is doing. And in this process, we find ourselves really moving forward in a much clearer way. So take a few more minutes and then we'll talk.
Yeah, today I really felt like my whole wrist, like my hands were like my whole, just all from the wrist
Oh,
going round, which I hadn't done before. It was a whole arm movement, but today it was like my wrists just going round and round, both going counterclockwise. The non-dominant hand a little more awkward, but it was still sort of in sync and just enjoying that flow.
good.
Yeah.
Good. Now, can you imagine a place that what you just uncovered could serve you well in your
You
day?
know what? Probably before I go to bed might be
Oh,
good. Just I know that might sound strange. I don't know, but
no.
just to really ensure I've tuned out of everything else.
Yes. I think,
That was the first thing that came to mind.
well, I would tell you, I think that's an excellent, excellent observation and decision. I mean, that to do this before you are going to bed, helps you let go of what isn't finished from the day and
Yeah.
and clears the air for the forward movement.
Yeah.
Good, good. Okay, so once again, whenever you're in a situation that is overwhelming or stress making, just remember what you need to do is move away from that chaos, and move into order. And how you get the order is by doing the pattern that you found that gave you pleasure or settles you down. I mean, those patterns, they're really building at this point. And so it's knowing that, okay, when I'm, in a thing out in public, or I'm on the phone with a friend, I mean, there's a lot of times that we just need to have a simple tool that brings us back into ourselves instead of overstretching ourselves into and then becoming part of the chaos.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I want us to do right now is I'm going to demonstrate activity number 4. Seems like I've made a big jump here, but activity number 4 is called the labyrinth. And what it does is it really helps heighten the awareness of the breath and how to synchronize with the breath. So in the labyrinth, it seems like a very simple activity. But in the labyrinth, we're going to do 2 different kinds. We're going to do a spiral one, which would be, I'll get this up here high enough so you can see. So that would be the spiral. So we're going to draw a spiral. And then when we get to the center, we're going to come back out of the spiral. Now, the trick to this is that you can only move your crayon or pencil on an exhalation. So if I starting here and I get a good breath and I just go and I run out of breath over here, what do I have to do? I have to stop. I have to stop and I have to take an adequate breath to move me forward. So here we go. And this, and then when I run out of breath again, I have to stop. And then I take another breath and I come into the center here. Once we're in the center, we're going to come back out. And once again, it has to do, you can only move your crayon on an exhalation. And every time you take a breath, you can start moving again. So we're only going to take it on an exhalation all the way back in here. Now, the other thing you need to know here is that, hold on just a second, is to pay attention to what is the speed, what is the pressure, and how does this feel? How could you use this yourself? So for right now, we're just going to do it together. I'm going to say,
Right.
all right, you ready?
Yes.
Okay, so you can take 3 deep breaths or not. It's completely up to you there. But on your last, you take the last breath, or the only breath you take, is you take a big breath. And as you are moving it, I want you to make a little sound. It could be like a s. Doesn't have to be very much. But what it does is it shows you when you run out of breath. Because we can get, go in, it's like, oh yeah, I'm breathing, I'm breathing, I'm breathing, I'm breathing. No, you're not really. You are breathing, but you're not doing it in a purposeful way. But when you make a sound with your exhalation, you know exactly when you've run out of air because you can't make any more sound. Okay, so let's do it together. We're going to start here at the beginning. You want to spiral in 3 times and then spiral out back to this place. And when you get back to this place in yourself, say something and we will move on from there. All right. So once again, close your eyes, take a breath, and let yourself do the spiral. And when you run out of breath, stop. Now, it's also true that if you want to have your eyes open when you do the spiral, that's all right too. And when you get to the center, remember, we're going to go back out using the breath again and using the breath to bring us into our inner environment. That's what this is doing. It's pulling us into our inner environment. It's strengthening our connection with our authentic self.
Yep, done.
Good. All right. So can you explain how you responded to it? Did this bring more clarity or more confusion, or how did you feel about this activity?
Yeah, I like it. I did open my eyes. Maybe that's just a beauty thing that I like to see the beauty of the spiral. I don't know. Let's see where I'm going. There you
Hmm?
go.
That's a very justifiable response, no? Okay, so
and yeah, I did. It made me breathe deeper.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a question for you. Is why do you think I have you start on the outside and go in, and then go from the inside out versus
Maybe it's pulling away from the outside world, coming
yeah,
into
yeah,
myself.
right. Absolutely. Is that, chaos outside of us can really derail us, fragment us, disorient us. And so when we start at the outside, we're starting from that place of unbalance, and we're using the breath to spiral ourselves inward so we can connect more deeply with our authentic self or our inner environment. The trick really is, dealing with the amount of chaos and upheaval we're all being subjected to these days. The trick really is to disconnect from that. We're not disappearing. We're just not using that as our stabilizing force. Instead, we are bringing ourselves into our authentic self, and that's where we find order. Like when we get there, everything is clear. It's like, there isn't a, yes, things might be annoying, but it's not going to completely derail us, because we know how to move ourselves from there, from there into there. So, do you have any questions?
No, I think I'm looking forward to practicing that more, and I will practice it with my eyes open and with my eyes closed, and not worried about where I'm
Yeah,
going, just to feel the difference.
I think that's an excellent idea. And what I'm
Yeah.
also going to do here is there's two different labras. There's this circular one, the spiral one we just did. And then I would say there's this straight line labyrinth, which you can see is a collection of straight lines. And we start out here, we come into the center, and then we go back out again. But we do it with straight lines. Now, for people that straight lines really resonate with their system, sometimes this is really more helpful than the circular one. So there's that equation. The other is that this is a little trickier, because here you start. We're going to start here. Here's our starting button. And we take a deep breath. Now remember, we have to stop when we run out of breath. So here I go. Uh-oh, I ran out of breath. I have to stop here, get another breath, and keep going. Once again, I hit a stop. So there's a mental inclination at times to just go, oh, I'm just going here. I'll stop at this corner. I'll stop at this corner. I'll stop. But if your breath doesn't take you there, you're not supposed to be there yet, So take it slow. Stop every time you need to do a breath. And before, if you open your eyes or close your eyes, it doesn't matter. But before we talk, reflect on how your system responds to the circular one versus the straight line one.
Okay.
And which one do you think, would help you, would, be more helpful for you in your daily life? Because we're talking about application here. So take a few minutes. And I would like you to do the straight line, your own version of the straight line. And then when you're done, let's talk and compare the impact of both of them on you.
Okay, I did that one.
Okay.
Um, I found it made me think a bit more.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's really nice. So more focused.
Yeah, maybe I was more focused instead of just flowing a lot, dreaming along. So yeah, maybe not necessarily a bad thinking.
Mm, good.
Yeah,
Okay. Well,
but I think I felt a bit more relaxed with the circular. But I'll just play with that some more.
uh-huh. Well, I could see that the circular one could be very restorative for you and
Yeah,
really bring you into the quietness of yourself and the balance of the hemispheres. And the straight lines, I find that this is kind of funny, but when I do the straight line, it's kind of like somebody's going, okay, chop chop, let's get done.
yeah, yeah,
Let's handle this, let's deal with this, just chop chop. So when you're saying, got you thinking more, it's like, yeah, I would definitely frame it that way, that it straight lines, for me, really help me focus and crystallize and be clear on where I'm standing and not standing. And ultimately, what we're talking about here is moving ourselves from the subconscious mind or the reactive mind to the problem solving mind or the conscious mind. And that, moving that often there is a conflict between the things that we were taught about ourselves and the things that are true about ourselves. And so every time you find a way to bring yourself into your inner environment, that you activate your conscious mind. And then remember, they operate in an either or capacity, meaning that if you move yourself into the conscious mind, all of those tapes, all of those shoulds are disconnected. So you have peace of mind for a period of time, which helps you get clarity, what helps you disentangle from the external chaos and reconnect with yourself. And to
yeah.
me, that is the job or the challenge we all face. So in this week, what I would like to suggest is that you continue with what you're doing, but also pay attention to where you think that these things will be useful for you.
Yeah, okay.
Because ultimately it's like we learn something and it's great to have a new technique. It's great to have something fun, but how can it improve your life? How can you use it to ensure that you're in your authentic self? You're coming from your authentic self. How is that possible? And it is very possible. It's so simple, it's ridiculous. Well, it goes back to what I just said, is that they operate in an either or capacity. So all you have to do is figure out how to activate the conscious mind and how to reactivate it when you get stressed or you're derailed or upset or overwhelmed. Just keep going back there. Just keep going back there. And
Yeah.
ultimately, the saying is a well-worn path is easy to find.
Mm.
So if you find a way to use it, maybe in the beginning, a couple times a week, but you could get to the point that you're doing multiple times a day using it to pull yourself back in connection with yourself.
Yes.
And that's, I feel like, is how we get peace. Peace within ourselves, within our families, within our communities, and at some point, hopefully, the world.
Yeah.
So I think I'm done unless you have some questions.
No, that's all very clear. Thank you.
Oh, I'm so glad you showed up. And I will see you in 2 weeks,
Yes.
okay? And in the meantime, enjoy doing whatever version. And I really do think your whole thing of the coloring in the patterns you have drawn is fabulous. It just really is.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really helping as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because it just allows your system to respond to a lot of different elements it might not normally be exposed to. And you get to know yourself better. And so, yes, I think that what you're doing in that variation that you've come up with is fabulous, absolutely fabulous. And I hope you have a good 2 weeks, and I will see you then.
Yes, you too. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome, Stephanie. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.